This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
How about Slamboree 93, a Legends reunion? Eric Bischoff here. Track it.
Indeed, to have its roots deeply planted in the rich tradition of professional wrestling. Now, with that in mind, WCW is more than excited to host Slamboree, a Legends reunion. Now, the event will be held at the Omni in Atlanta on Sunday, May 23rd, and that's just part of what is going to be an unforgettable weekend. Now, the day before, fans can attend Slam Meet, an opportunity to meet and greet some of the legends in attendance. And later that night, it's Slam Feast, a once-in-a-lifetime dinner with the legends themselves. It is without a doubt one of the most anticipated events ever in our history. Now, during Slamboree, as well as getting to see many of the legends in attendance, the fans will see the top superstars of WCW in competition. We have two big announcements to make. The WCW World Heavyweight title will be on the line at Slamboree as Big Van Vader defends against a British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith. And Barry Windham and Arn Anderson have signed to face each other for Windham's NWA title. Now, just 1 week ago, after an exchange of words, the two came to blows. What a match this should be. But right now, let's go to another legend in this sport, a man who has set the standard for all wrestling announcers, Mr. Gordon Solie.
Well, thank you very much, Eric. You know, it gives me a great sense of pride to be part of this tremendous event. My years in this sport are filled with vivid memories of some of the world's greatest athletes. And on Sunday, May 23rd, many of these legendary competitors will come together once again, bringing back memories and creating some new ones. So far, here on WCW Saturday Night, we have announced 6 men who will be on hand for the Slamboree. We now have 4 more to add to that list. Lord James Blears, quite possibly the most famous wrestler ever from Hawaii. They called him the King of Waikiki. The former Pacific heavyweight champion, after his years in the sport, then became a commentator. Also at Slamboree, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. The 3 times NWA World Champion, won his first title from Harley Race in Tampa in 1979. Went on to become one of the most popular athletes ever. Dusty, oddly enough, began his career as a hated member of the Texas Outlaws with Dick Murdoch. The Masked Assassin, probably the greatest masked man of all times and certainly the most ruthless. And finally, Blackjack Mulligan, the rough Texan from Eagle Pass, was one of the greatest big men ever to enter in pro wrestling. He held many titles and was a dominant force in the U.S. title scene in the 1970s. He and Blackjack Lanza were one of the most feared teams in the AWA during that decade. But as a singles competitor, Mulligan had no equal. The claw was his single favorite hold, but he also had a vicious right-hand punch that knocked out many a man. Now, let's take a look at this big Texan.
Jack, you know, Slaughter's put up that $1,000 challenge for that.
This is the shit you grew up on right here, isn't it?
Oh, this is my wheelhouse, buddy. Rich Landrum, Johnny Weaver talking to Blackjack.
I had dinner with Rich Landrum once and had no fucking idea that I was eating dinner with Rich Landrum because I didn't know who the fuck Rich Landrum was.
Yeah, I never met Rich, to be honest with you, but I did read something about, he said, Schiavone's bitter about the business. And I say, who the fuck is he to say I'm bitter about the business? He doesn't even know me. But Blackjack, man, this is 81, and this is a couple of years after that great angle with he and Flair.
Hat in the robe, baby.
Yeah, but that was, I like the thing with a very handsome Eric Bischoff and Gordon Solie here, don't you?
It's very respectful, and it's in stark contrast to the way the WWF would present something like this. I can appreciate that they're trying to embrace sort of the history of wrestling and the NWA, and it is sort of fun as they run through some of these guys. It's like, I don't know who that is. Not really sure who that is. Oh, Dusty Rhodes, like one of the biggest stars ever. How about Eric Bischoff, man, doing his best here? By the way,
he's really handsome.
He's running the fucking ship right now. I mean, that's what's crazy to think is, you know, with Watts out, he's newly the top guy. How are you feeling about that? You know, this guy comes in behind you and now he's leapfrogging you, and
I'm feeling wonderful about it. He's making me his number one announcer, and he's depending on me to do a lot. I feel great. And the pressure of running the business, not on me. I've said that many times. I feel great about it. Interesting that, here comes beautiful Bobby, man. And
Eric fucking Watts.
Eric Watts. All right. So now Bill Watts is out, right? More than likely, Eric's going to do the job here, don't you think?
Well, look at this jacket that Bobby's wearing. Lord bless us. We knew not what we did.
Right out of Boaz, Alabama, buddy.
Look at that haircut that Eric Watts is sporting here.
That's a big mullet.
I'm going to step out and say, if Bad Money Slim was of age in 1993, he would have been rocking a mullet.
He probably would have been.
Bad Money Slim looks like a mullet kind of motherfucker.
Well, you're half right. Let me say this about, I want to ask you a question going back to, we just saw Eric's run the company and we saw Ravishing Rick Rude. Has Eric ever told you the story about Rude's funeral?
That he was asked to leave?
Yeah. Is that true? I had heard that. I didn't know if he ever confirmed that on the 83 Weeks or not with you, or if you ever brought that up to him.
We have talked about it. It was at the end of an episode. And we also recently talked about with Jim Ross, how Chris Benoit's family asked him to leave.
Right.
It's remarkable how, so many of the families sort of blame wrestling for the loss of their loved one.
Yeah, and it's a terrible time. I get that, but I didn't know if that was a true story or not. I had heard that, but then again, you hear so much in wrestling, you don't know what to believe.
Yeah, track it.
Invited to the Legends reunion at Slamboree '93. Some of the greatest competitors to ever step foot in the ring are going to be there. I also have the honor of introducing a couple of more that are going to be there. Black Jack Mulligan, Lord James Blears. Now, I know that Dusty Rhodes was on this program last week, and he's going to be there. And, he's approaching this thing with a very lighthearted and cavalier attitude. Well, Rhodes, I want you to know one thing. I had the list of a lot of people that are going to be there that we feel we still got a score to settle with you. So I want to tell you one thing. Show up with your party face. If you get too close to me during the course of the evening, when you leave there, that party face is going to be turned into a face of pain. And I never forgive and I don't forget.
It's going to...
How about Jody Hamilton, man?
He could cut a promo, man. And he's going back to the old Florida Championship Wrestling days when he and Dusty had a pretty good run.
By the way, he's billed as being 6'1", 265. He was not 265 in that video.
Wasn't even close to 265.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.